their expectation that this is what they want to achieve out of their big data analytics play. But before we go to this special use case, let me share some insights with you. You most probably know already. There are some claims from certain analysts which I have collected for this slide, and still you see that on average the people think that big data is going to grow still at a very large amount, and the whole market for big data, as you see from 451 research, which is the most conservative prediction. They predict something like 24k billion US dollars up to 80 currently, which are quite optimistic. They predict the market to be like 114 billion US dollar. Interesting also the growth rates, so they are going from 12% to 30%. There's another prediction which I would like to share with you. This prediction is from ABI Research. ABI Research is making a prediction from 2012 to 2018, and about IoT and end-to-end analytics. And as you may see in this blue thing we are playing, in which we are playing, data analytics is also a huge play for vendors as well as for potential users of this kind of technologies. There's another interesting thing which I would also share with you, We invested a lot of time within our company with a research company by the name of Machina Research. They did some basic research on end-to-end and IoT, and this is another interesting number. They predict that from 2013 to 2023, the number of connected devices will increase from 3.5 billion to 22.5 billion. And the interesting thing is that the portion of end-to-end devices, which is in this graph, the darker red bar, will proportionally increase to the PC and tablet devices. So it's a huge increase in these devices, and these devices are going to generate a lot of data. So regarding this kind of data, I'm going to talk to you a little bit later, but you have learned from my predecessor that sensor data is going to generate incredible high amount of data. When it comes to big data and IoT and analytics in IoT, I collected on this slide some more general statements about how the rest of the world sees IoT, analytics and big data. And you see from the World Economy Forum to the Gartner Symposium, Internet of Things is very high on every CIO's and CEO's agenda, and seems to be the mega theme for this year and the coming years. There's also something which I personally found quite impressive. There is an article in the Harvard Business Review from November 2014, which very nicely describes the challenge in IoT and how you should deal with IoT. Very recommended read from my side, so you should take some time to read that. Very nice thing. In order to discuss a little bit more in detail what is understood by M2M IoT, I thought it might be worth to spend a couple of minutes on what we mean by M2M and what we mean by IoT. M2M is usually starting at a point of a device where you collect a lot of sensors, and those sensors are going to be analyzed, and you try to get some value out of the sensors. The next thing is, so in this stage you usually talk about the intranet of things, not the internet of things. So it's just for yourself. Imagine you have a car, and in your car you're collecting a lot of sensors while you drive, and those sensors are displayed on your dashboard. So this is the first stage. The second stage is that you use a lot of sensor data in your enterprise. For example, think about an intelligent building where you have your air condition connected with your heating and your access control in your building. Then you have a so-called, for your enterprise itself, a kind of subnet of things. And if you think about subnet of things, and you most probably have a number of subnet of things, think about smart city. Smart city is a typical example of subnet of things, where you have, for example, the control of your traffic lights. This is one thing. Then you have the faces of the traffic lights. Then you have, for example, in London, the congestion charging system. This is another kind of system. And then you have got maybe the vending machine, tickets, and also the information about the public transportation. And that all ties together. Some subnets are coming together to a larger subnet of things. And if you imagine you have subnet of things for smart city, for energy, for health, for example, and if you then merge those subnets of things together, and if they come together, then you can talk about Internet of Things. So it starts quite small, and it evolves, and then at the end, when the subnets are talking together, then you have a real Internet of Things. For example, Smart City talks to, the subnet of Smart City talks to the health subnet of things. Or for example, the building subnet of things talks to the energy subnet of things. So there are many combinations possible. So M2M to IoT, quite important to understand a bit of the difference here. The next slide talks a little bit again about quotes from famous analysts and also from a famous magazine in the US. So Gartner tells the audience that the next big thing is the Internet of Things and the analytics of IoT related things. Forbes clearly states that there is a real value which you can derive from data which you analyze by the Internet of Things. Let me show you one slide from Gartner again, where you see, and you saw already this slide in the previous presentation. The earlier you just detect some failures for a device, the lower is the cost of repair. You see, it starts normally when you have the first detection and indication, and the longer it takes till you discover the failure, the higher are the costs of the repair of the thing. So this is generating immediate value for people which do real-time monitoring and which do predictive maintenance with their data which they collect from their sensors. There are famous companies which already dealing with this sensor-related data. One is General Electric. You know that General Electric, you saw that also on the previous slide, they are collecting 10,000 sensors in their battery plant and try to derive value from that data. Then we have got Harley-Davidson, famous company, which is collecting also data from their manufacturing line, and they are able to paint a motorcycle every 86 seconds. And then last but not least, John Deere, famous for farming equipment. They also collecting sensors, and they discover things like improper use. They have those machines connected via the internet and can upload software upgrades and deliver predictive maintenance, and they are saving millions of operational costs for this kind of Internet of Things connection. When we as Pathstream decided to build a platform for the Internet of Things, we went to a conference which was in Chicago last autumn, and we have been invited by Cisco to present in this conference. And I collected some quotes out of this conference. One is from the CEO of Rockwell, and he talks about remote monitoring, that you need to analyze your data at the edge of the network, so at the very edge of the network, in order to get value. Then it was a very nice quote from the EVP of Technical and Computing, Competitive IT from Shell. He was telling the audience that with the analyzing capabilities which he has right now, he can see things he never thought that it would be possible to discover these things. And then the head of Rio Tinto, the world's largest mining company, they have been talking about collecting 4.9 terabyte of data out of their 900 heavy machines, and about the value which they are getting out of it. And last but not least, John Chambers, CEO of Cisco, told the audience that the analytics will accelerate the IoT adoption quite heavily. So, very nice statement and quotes. And now maybe it's a little bit more time to share with you some use cases which we had and which we already have in production from Parsstream. One company, since we have our German heritage, you maybe know, it's a company by the name of Siemens. And Siemens is is one of the 3 large companies which are producing gas turbines. And Siemens so far is only collecting data for their gas turbine in batch shows. So they are collecting every day all the data from the gas turbine, and then they do a batch file transfer to their central maintenance center, and then they do predictive analytics. For their new generation of gas turbines, they have been looking for a different kind of technology. First, a technology which enables them to monitor in real time at the plant some strange behaviors of the gas turbine. So, for example, if something occurs, someone can just act and try to avoid some outages. You recall this slide which I had with the curve which goes down and the cost which goes up. So this is a kind of real-time monitoring they have been looking for. And then also they want to optimize the operation of a gas turbine. So what they want to have is real-time data combined with historical data. So in the IoT space, the so-called term of historian is quite important. So they think about keeping all central data for about 20 years. This is a huge volume of data they want to keep in order to improve their operation, also their predictive maintenance capabilities, and lower the outages of one gas turbine. So the first requirement was to have analytic capabilities at the plant, so where they can analyze directly and monitor what is going to happen with the gas turbine. And then what they asked for was that they have the data stored in the plant, so at the edge, so to say, of the Internet of Things. But on the other hand, they want to run analytics across all deployed gas turbines across the globe, right? So that they have a comparison and that they can act quite immediately. So if a gas turbine, for example, in the US has a certain kind of behavior, that the same behavior is also causing some problems in another country. So this kind of capability to have analytics at the edge and have the possibility to do some analytics on a centralized place, that was a requirement of Siemens. And at the end of the day, they decided to acquire a technology which we are able to provide to the market, and which I explained to you a little bit later. But the real benefit is they could do real-time monitoring, they could ingest very fast amount of data and very high amount of data at a very short response times. And if you imagine, so 5,000 centers records per second, that's, I did a quick calculation, that's roughly 1.8 billion records per hour, which we need to collect here and store in the database and make it ready for analytical purposes. The next example I would like to share with you is the largest wind turbine producer in China, a company by the name of Envision Energy. They decided also to acquire our technology because they have been looking for monitoring their wind turbines in real time, as well as optimizing their wind turbines, so according to the environment which is happening. So if if the wind is changing, if the weather is changing, they can get more energy out of a wind turbine if they adjust the blade. So they want to optimize this data. And this company really believes that with advanced analytics, they can increase their revenue by 15% and have some benefit in order of 158 million US dollars per year. The next example I would like to share with you is a little bit different. It comes from the manufacturing of a company in the US. They're doing a software which they sell to semiconductor manufacturers. So they are experts in doing semiconductor testing. And I didn't know that before, but if you do semiconductor testing, they're talking about lots and wafers. And for example, one wafer generates roughly 1 billion of sensor or test data. So can you imagine 24 wafers in a lot, and you have a lot more lots, so to say, and this is a huge amount of data, and they have been facing for the first time huge scalability problems. So not only that they want to monitor the data or offer their clients to monitor the data in real time, they also wanted to deal with large volumes of data. So in data in the order of magnitude like 40 to 60 terabyte, and their current solution was not able to scale to that amount, and therefore they decided to not just go for the real-time monitoring, they also went for a big data store. So since parsing combines both real-time monitoring, so dealing with streaming data, and on the other hand, dealing with huge volume of data in one platform, they decided for parsing. Another use case, which is also quite an interesting one, is a company by the name of Octo Telematics. Octo offers in Italy car drivers a device which you can put in your car, and this device collects a lot of data about your driving behavior and your driving routes. And all this data is then transmitted via GPS system to a central system, and they do some analytics. They currently store, as far as I recall correctly, yes, it's 260 million records of data about driving behavior. And the historian they store is something like 31 million records of data and 200 million new data which they getting in their analytics server. What they do is, for example, they offer insurances this data in order to do usage-based insurance, which means if you drive a car and if you have a insurance for your car, according to your driving behavior, how often you push the gas pedal, how often you push the brake, depending on this behavior, you're going to get offered a different policy from your car insurer. So this is a kind of business model. They are going to use that also for trucks, so that they can track all the routes of the trucks, can optimize the truck situation and the truck delivery and supply. This is another use case. So with the possibility of analyzing this kind of big data and near real-time data, they are capable to present new business models to other industries. So those are examples, real examples, which Pathbridge was able to sell to their clients and generate benefit out of this kind of use cases. So coming back to what pass-stream really is, what we are offering the market, I just briefly describe the problem, then I go to a bit into pass-stream and about the traction and the use cases we have already been talking. So the first thing is to talk about the requirements of IoT and analytics in IoT. You have heard that from the previous presentation already. So when you do analytics in IoT, you indeed deal with big data. This is real big data which is generated by the sensor, and it's increasing rapidly. You also have to deal with fast data, because data is coming very fast along. So you have to have the capability to analyze that data in order to do real-time monitoring, and you have to have the capability to store this data. Then we spoke about the gas turbine example, where you need to have edge analytics. So you need to have both. You need to have the possibility to analyze at the edge, and then you need to have the possibility to analyze at the data processing center. And of course, you need to have the possibility to be ready for real-time analytics. You know, if you want to recall this chart of this cost of repair, so if you want to be able to analyze the data immediately in order to avoid cost of repair, then real-time monitoring is quite crucial to you. So I put together here some examples about data which is generated by sensors. So for example, if you are a telco company and have cell towers, each cell tower where you have all the mobile connection generates 1 million data records per second. So sensor data per second. This is huge. This is really huge. We have learned the example of the airplane, which generates in 6 hours 240 terabytes of data, which is also very, very huge. If you talk about fast data, you know, if you want to provide something for a telco company and you want to do CDR analytics, telco, supply analytics, and telco maintenance, then you are talking also about real fast data, because data is coming 1 million sensor points per second, and you have to have the capability to absorb this kind of data. We already talked about the edge analytics. Can you imagine? I think we have around the globe something like 1 billion cars, planes, and other devices which are capable to have analytics on the device, on the edge. And then real-time, you know, the interesting part is when you want to enable someone to monitor a wind turbine, but you need to have roughly 15 queries in a dashboard in parallel. So your dashboard, your monitoring dashboard, this was the visualization which we showed, my predecessor showed, has usually something like 15 parallel queries which needs to be refreshed in seconds and milliseconds, and that is huge, and therefore you need to have real time just in order to get this insight. There are not that many companies which have strengths in all these criteria. So fast data, big data, edge computing, edge analytics, real time, and integrated data and IoT data. But we think with our offering, we can cope with all those requirements. Each product has its strength. Real fast data streaming and then real fast analytics, then I think we can cope with that very nicely. Just to summarize that, so Parstim is able to ingest data in real time. So 1 million data records per second. And then Parstim is also able to analyze this data very fast in real time and do it very flexible. And the whole thing is Parstim has a very small footprint, less than 49 MB. It can sit at the edge. And then you have the capability to present to your client a very low TCO. What Parstim is offering a real-time IoT analytics platform, which enables you to first collect all the data from the sensors. So we have an ecosystem of partners which are collecting all the data from the sensors. Then we can ingest the data into a database, and we have a database, therefore you have the name Parstim, which is able to stream the data continuously in the database and at the same time provide analytics capabilities for a big data server. So we are a columnar database, so we have got a columnar store database which works with standard SQL ANSI 92. So you will be able to apply standard SQL ANSI language. You can use interfaces to connect the market's leading visualization tools, for example, ClickView or ClickSense, MicroStrategy, Yellowfin. All of that is possible. DataWatch, for example, very good tool, so you can connect that. And you can visualize your data. For the import of data, we are also capable, we very nicely work together with Informatica. So that Informatica is going to have the presentation also here. So you can ingest the data, you can use open source connectors in order to ingest Hadoop data. And then what we are offering as unique feature, no one else has that right now in the industry, is this kind of geo-distributed analytics. We have time series functionality. We're going to have, or we have already alerts and actions, so that you, when you have real-time alerts, you can trigger those real-time alerts and can move that over. Then we have got an interface where you can plug in, and that is quite important in analytics for IoT, so-called machine learning algorithms. So we are cooperating with most of the companies in this area, like Rational or R, 9 and RapidMiner, for example. And for the sensor data, we have a lot of partners, for example, ThingWorks, Plat1, which are connecting our technology, connecting to our technology. So this is the platform Parstim is able to provide companies in the IoT analytics space, and that is something which we showcase on the Good Morning IT booth. So we have a showcase of telco data, about 25 billion data records of telco data, which is on our Amazon server. It's so you can see the speed of how we analyze this data. We monitor the whole thing. You can also see the monitoring of the data. And you are invited to join us at the booth. It's really impressive, this kind of demo. Just coming back to the technology itself. So I already told you that we provide for telco companies big analytics capabilities. We provide capabilities. We are working together right now with Cisco, with Orange, with the Australian operator Telstra. We have already shared Octo and Envision and Galaxy. So a lot of use cases, and what I also want to share with you are some quotes, and very important quotes from analysts. So, for example, Siemens is quoting us quite positively after our announcement. The same is true for Gartner. They tell the market space that we are quite unique with our offering. So all in all, a very good reaction on this one. And we also have now a presence in Korea, where we can show you where you can acquire the technology itself. And yeah, and to sum that up, we have been rewarded quite often for our technology, for the excellence of our technology. And I hope you will join the rest of this conference. You join us at our booth. And I'm now open for questions.
네, 질문 있으신 분께서는 질문 손을 들어 표시해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 네, 질문이 없으신 것 같은데 시간 관계상 질문은 연사님께 개인적으로 해주시거나 아니면 파스트림 굿모닝 IT 전시 부스를 방문해 주시면 감사하겠습니다. 네, 발표로